I always like to introduce people first. I'm Anita Finley, and we are now doing a Zoomer Times TV because this is the best way to get people in front of you so you understand what's going on in society, not only in South Florida, but everywhere. But today we have a gem from South Florida. And this gem is called, his name is William C. Diggs. And William, we're going to call him Bill. He's the CEO. Yeah, he's the CEO of the Broward Health Foundation. And he's only been there, I guess you've been there, have you been there a year yet?
No, I started late October of 2019.
Okay. Oh, well, see, you made such an impression. This is like you've been there forever. But I am very excited because I'm on the foundation board, and having a leader is the way that you get things done. So you, of course, came at a time when we do need funds. We've had some crises now, and I'm sure it's interfering, but you've got this positive attitude. Let's just back up a little bit and talk about where did you come from before you arrived at the Broward Health Foundation?
Well, and Anita, thank you. It's always great to talk to you, and I can't thank you enough for allowing for me to, talk to you and your viewers and the people that are really helping to make a difference in this community. I came from the Morning Family Foundation, right? I worked at the pleasure of Alonzo and Tracy Morning. I was there for about 7 years. I've known Alonzo as a basketball player. When he came into Miami initially, we met through some good friends at Nike. And we built this foundation to help kids, and we had about 55 employees, 3 different nonprofits underneath the group. And so I was the president of the group, and each organization had its executive director. They reported up to me. And prior to that, I had been the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce in Miami. So I'm a nonprofit disciple, right? I believe in being able to do great while you do good, and giving back has kind of always been my thing. And so, when I had an opportunity and was recruited to come to take over this position, I jumped at the chance because I think it is, when you can, build, businesses through helping people, and this time, I thought it was a great opportunity for me.
Yeah, we were excited to have you. And I'm just going to divert a little bit. I want to know about your mother. I always ask famous people about their mamas because it says a lot about them. So tell me about your mother. Is she still here with us?
No, my mom passed away probably 12 years ago or so. Wonderful lady, born and raised in Augusta, Georgia. A great cook. My mom had the distinct pleasure of running a daycare in the basement of an old Baptist church.
Oh.
And this daycare for over 30 years, as a matter of fact.
Now this is daycare for children or older people?
It was a daycare for babies. For babies from the age of the wife's got to go back to work after just having them until they're, time for pre-K, right? Mm-hmm. And it was funny because, it wasn't until she passed away that my father realized that she had been working almost for free and didn't have any benefits. But we were all raised there. I mean, literally, because she ran the daycare after school. We'd all go by there. We'd help and washing, diapers and, cooking food. It was the joy of her life. And as a matter of fact, it wasn't until they, said, listen, you're at a particular age where you kind of need to retire, that, the people that the pastor of the church said, Ms. Diggs, we'll just get your rocking chair and kind of let you come and hang out. And she did that until she passed away. Yeah. So,
you see, that's where you get your giving nature, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. For me, like I said before, I was raised in it, right? Because, back then, if you didn't come pick the child up by 6 o'clock and my mom couldn't find you, she'd bring the children home.
Of course.
Literally, that's right.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes they with us, people would have all kinds of challenges because again, this was a church, and so the fees there weren't expensive, but it was because it was needed, not because of anything else. But yeah, that was a wonderful lady, and so we were raised in the church. She's church choir, from her being a child herself until until she passed away. That was her thing. Yeah,
Well,
so she was
see,
literally
and
in church 6.
yeah, and I have to say that even when doctors are talking, I always ask about their mom or their dad, and some of them say, well,
Yeah.
I wanted to be a doctor since the time I was 12, or they talk about different things. And so it's kind of fun because that's what, it puts a smile on the face of the interviewer, but also it makes us know a little bit more about you. So now this big position, so when you got that call and they wanted you for this huge position, why don't you tell everybody who's listening now, maybe they don't know about the Broward Health, and then we'll talk about the foundation. But what is Broward Health?
Broward Health is one of the 10 largest health systems almost in the country. We are a very, very large employer with almost 9,000 employees, 5 hospitals, and then about 32 medical clinics around the Broward area. And these medical clinics provide everything from dental care for children to a first stop place for urban dwellers and for people that are living below the poverty level to be able to come in and get services in regards to, social, psychiatric, and medical care. And then the hospitals, if you will, are expanded from the northern part of the county, where the official name is the North Broward Hospital District. It's been around since the 30s. It used to be called Broward General. So when you meet people from the Fort Lauderdale area, oh, my baby was born at Broward General, and I had to realize that it's the Broward, Health Medical Center. So it's a very large and expansive campus, and our organization has gone through some tremendous changes like everybody else. But because it is now, we've got a really good management team in place, and so our role at Broward Health is to become the go-to organization for medical services in the North Broward area.
That's a very big responsibility. And I know that one thing that everyone's proud of, but it costs a lot of money, and that's why the foundation's work so important, is nobody's refused, are they, if they come there, Bill?
No, and like I said, that's the humanitarian part of what we do. And and I'll tell people this, even though we are a state-funded organization to a certain extent, we're doing God's work, right? When you know that you're sick and you're ill and you've got to come somewhere to get services, we don't turn anybody away. As a matter of fact, other hospitals have, from time to time, put sick patients in taxis, realizing that they couldn't take care of them, and they ended up at where we're at. You've got all kind of crazy stories because, when you look into a person's finances and you know that they've got real medical issues, they know they can come to Broward Health and we're going to be there for them. But at the end of the day, it's kind of interesting because of what's happened. Because we are that safety net hospital, we've also got doctors who've seen everything. So the level of experience and that they get because of that dynamic really does allow for us to give that high level of service to people that can't afford it, because we're not afraid of anything, right? We've seen every malady known to man at our hospitals, and so we're prepared for that. So our interns and our residents that come through our program know that if they want to be best in class, you can come to us and get an idea in regards to everything that is out there that you can ever see in the medical industry.
I'm glad you said that, because I have interviewed over the last many years many of the doctors actually, and they're brilliant. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like to interview them, because here they are in their office or in the clinic, or they're in the operating room, and people don't know them other than the people that they're taking care of. So I like to get them out there and say, look, this is what the hospital has, and this is right. What you want to do. You want to go there. So that's why I was very happy to join the foundation. So in some way, I can make a difference just as you do, because the foundation is the way that they make up for the deficits. And there are always deficits, aren't there?
There are. The blessing in taking care of people that have need becomes a real hole that we've got to fill in our financial picture, right? And because we want to be best in class, we still want to have the latest equipment and services that we can provide to the patient that can pay as well as to the one that can't. And so our role as a foundation is to go out and raise those dollars, and also to be able to bring a particular level of response from the philanthropic community, so that they know that the services that we provide are not just best in class, but that we're helping the less fortunate. And so, people always say, man, people that have a lot of money, they don't want to give back. And I said, I totally disagree. A large part of what you'll see is they haven't been approached. And once they do, I will tell you that from that perspective, there's a large giving community that really cares about the less fortunate. And so they're here to help.
This is a good time for us to talk about the wonderful Salah Foundation, the Salah Foundation, and what they've done for the neonatal. I mean, when you walk in there, you start crying. It's so fabulous. Why don't you tell people about them and that?
Yeah, needless to say, our children's hospital is called the Salah Children's Hospital, the Salah Foundation Children's Hospital, and they are our partners in this, right? And so that's an organization that has decided to have their name attached to Broward Health, but in doing so, a lot of people don't say, you've got a big operating table, you have these big beds, then you've got big people that are in them, right? The average human is 5'6", 5'7", male or female, and weighs X amount of pounds. Well, when you have children that have these issues that have come upon them that they've got to be taken care of, we can't service them in the same environment. And so we try to make sure that the children's hospital has equipment that children are able to, that are able to be used on children. Now, the most precious time of a child's life is when they're first born. And so these neonatal facilities that we have, these rooms, have space-age equipment that cost a lot of money, And so what we've done is we've worked with them to be able to raise some of the cash that we're going to need to outfit these rooms, because listen, we got to take care of the babies, right? We got to take care of the children. So these neonatal, issues that children are born with, where they might have lungs that have yet to be developed. Their throat might have some particular issues. They might have a broken bone or something that happened tragically during the birthing process. We put them in these neonatal, which is these newborn rooms / incubators, and then we try to make sure that we can still be able to check their heart rhythms and their blood pressures, and try to find a cuff small enough to put onto a baby that's less than 10 inches long. We have to have that kind of equipment, and not everybody does it. And because you've got people that manufacture this stuff, of course they have to be able to sell it in a marketplace that makes sense, and it costs a lot to do it. And and so in order for them to be able to continue, we got to pay the going rate for that stuff, and we do. But it's a lot. I mean, I can't even tell you how many more times it costs to raise or to create these infant type of rooms versus the room of an adult. It's got to be 10x in regards to price.
I'm going to tell you a story that I don't think I've even shared to anybody, but because it brings this up. I lived in Miami Beach most of my life, and I got married early, and in 1956, I gave birth to a child born 7 days into the seventh month, and he weighed 2 pounds 14 ounces, and
wow.
then you're separated from them. They're in they're in this isolate somewhere else, and what I loved about what I saw there at our new neonatal department, medical center, was that the people their babies, they could sit in that room with them. They could be there. That was unheard of years ago.
Yeah, it was. Wow. Yeah. It's changed tremendously, right? Because we all get smarter to figure out surveys and how to do things better. And you begin to realize that a child's mental state is as important as their physical. And to the extent that you can create an environment for them that shows that they're not in this trauma because mom is there, right? Yep. It makes a big difference. And so we've created these rooms to allow for mom to be there. And it's important for her as well, because, you don't want to send home a well child and have a sick mom. Or you don't want to send home a sick mom and have a well mother. You want for both of them to be in a healthy, growing environment, and so that's that whole thing right there. A large part of medical, theology says, heal thyself, right? And so that's a big deal when you can have an environment that will allow for that process to take place in a natural setting.
And one thing that's really very nice is if any of you listening would like a tour, all you have to do is call Bill Diggs at the foundation, and you just look up the Broward Health Foundation, and he'll arrange a tour for you, because
Absolutely.
If you have some excess dollars, you're working on your will, you want to leave it to a place that you feel has responsibility, why don't you consider that? You can write a check now, but I don't want you to forget that, people do have wills, and you don't always have to give it all to your kids. You can give a little to the community, and this is the right place to give it, isn't it, Bill?
It is, and thank you so much for that, Anita. You're absolutely right. I mean, listen, we all know that if you're lucky enough to live long enough, you're going to have your own medical issues. It's just the fact of life. None of us is born with this instruction manual that tells us how to auto-correct, right? We have issues, and when they come up, you got to find a home, to go and take care of yourself, and that home is Broward Health, and our associated hospitals. And so, with that being the case, we would love for you to consider us as a part of your giving strategy, because it can help us and you can help other people. And there's no better way to live or to die with the idea that you're going to, be a part of a legacy. That's important. So yeah, we want to be able to receive that. And we've got the right vehicle to sit down and talk to you about how to structure, a will and or trust, to include our organization in it. Yeah,
there's a lot of good financial ways to do this, but I'd like to jump to the Broward North, because that's had a whole new face. I'm close there. I live, my office is in Boca Raton, and oh my gosh, you've done so much there. Why don't you share with everyone a little bit about that?
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, we've got a fearless leader up at our hospital, and it's Alice Taylor. And the Broward Health North is, if you will, is the second oldest hospital. It's in our set, but we've completely transformed the place, right? I mean, there are new wings and units, and there's all types of things that are going on there. You would be impressed if you were to go by and see. Even the grounds have changed. We've done a really good job of updating all of the different materials. We have a psychiatric ward as well. There's a lot of great things that are taking place at Broward Health North.
When my mother we were afraid that she had Alzheimer's, we took her there years ago when no one else had anything like this. They did great testing, and so I know they really focus in on that. So people who would like to have some help, if you think that your memory is not so good, you can actually call. Why don't you start with the foundation, the Broward Health Foundation, and tell them you'd like a tour there, and they'll put you in touch with the right person. I mean, Alice, I know her so well because she, of course, was the CEO there at Imperial Point, and she did so much there.
Yeah. You know what? You're right about that. I mean, it's good to have people that have the level of experience that Alice has. But you're right. Listen, South Florida is becoming, as is the rest of the world. I mean, people are living longer now, right? Because of all these medical advances. But as you're living longer, that also brings on some additional issues and problems and memory loss and those types of things. It just happens. And sometimes, you can worry more than you need to, and so by going and getting tested, you can begin to try to figure out how you can help yourself, by coming to a hospital and doing that. So right. I think you're right. That's a good idea.
And it's funny, everyone knows that I love the Imperial Point gift shop. I mean, I know that the patients are well taken care of, but if you want to buy things, whether it's the holidays or whatever, just keep your purse closed or your wallet, because when you get to that gift shop, you're going to buy something. They have the best gifts at the Imperial Point gift shop, and that's right in Fort Lauderdale, and it's wonderful, right. And I had to promote that.
Right. Well,
it's funny. It's a way to donate money.
It's funny because you're absolutely right about that. Randy Groves, their new CEO, Randy and I started around the same time, so we become fast friends. And I'll drop by there and we'll have lunch and I'll talk to him. And
I love him. He's wonderful.
yeah, and it was the holiday season. I'm thinking, why in the world is this place so crowded? I said, you got too many patients? He said, nah, man. He said, it's a gift shop.
Right.
I think the people that have been working there so long, they know what folk like, and they literally go out and procure these things to be sold. And so it's a great revenue producer for them.
Right. It's wonderful. And it's important because if people don't have a lot of money to donate, at least they can go to the gift shop and spend some money, and then it does go. And this is the other thing. You have extraordinary volunteers. Every one of those people there are not paid. They're enthusiastic. They love it. They come there like a very dedicated person. And if any of you are interested in volunteering, they're always needing volunteers. So you can also then call the Broward Health Foundation. I'm putting it all on Bill Diggs, because he'll make sure that you get to the right place, right?
That's exactly right. It's interesting because, I had no idea that they weren't paid, right? And when I found that out, I said, with the level of service that they give, these are very, very grateful people. And I think that's a lot. Again, I think it's tradition based. I think it's been that way for so long that the people that come recruit others, and they know what they're looking for. We have some young people that work during the holiday season, and they're just as grateful. So it's that same way. And it's funny because our youngest jewel in our system is Broward Health Coral Springs, and Jared Smith is up there. He runs that organization, and it's wild because we all do cross training, right? We go to each other's hospitals and learn from one another, and the culture that exists, you can see it's all moved over into the Coral Springs location. And so with those 4 locations where Heather Haverkack is running Broward Health Medical Center, we've created a good group of strong entrepreneurs that are now CEOs that themselves are doing a great job at the hospitals.
And I don't want to not talk about the Women's Center at the Broward Health at downtown in Fort Lauderdale. It's extraordinary. You can go get a massage, you can go get a facial, you get anything there.
You really can, and by the way, it's going to be going through its own additional transformation. And by the way, it's not that old to start with, right?
Right.
But I will give its leadership a lot of credit, and understanding that, that in this wave of new medical advances, and understanding about, the challenges that women have. I think it's a welcome addition to our family. I think it's important that we continue to provide, not only service, but complement to the Women's Health Center. It's an awesome place, and we're going to be making some announcements in the coming future. As a matter of fact, Nita, you and the rest of the board will discuss it, but then we'll make some additional information available in regards to some of the changes we'll be making at the Women's Center that are going to help to vault it to national prominence.
Well, you're the leader, and we're just going to follow you. It's wonderful to have someone like you who understands this. This isn't like someone who was a CEO of a big corporation and decided now to go to not-for-profits. They're different. They do require lots of, it's just special because people don't make a lot of money when they work for a not-for-profit, but they have great dedication. And we have a lot of not-for-profits here in South Florida. But the hospitals really is, and I want you to just talk a little bit about the COVID-19 before we end. Is this being very hard on the whole Broward Health?
It is. I mean, I can't sugarcoat the truth, right? I mean, no one was ready for this. No one anticipated it to be as long running as it seems that it's going to be. Trying to kind of right fit our budget with the idea that we've got to take care of the business of running a healthy hospital. It's been tough, but from a long-term perspective, one of the things that we begin to really understand and appreciate, and that is the resiliency of our employees, right? I mean, we've got good employees that have kind of dug in, and we've decided that we're going to go through this together as a team. But it's not easy, It really.
You know, Bill, it's been so wonderful. It's never enough time, but I appreciate what you do, and I'm glad everyone got to know you a little bit better.
Good.
And I know they're going to be thinking about the Broward Health Foundation more. And I look forward to seeing you very soon, and take care of yourself.
Anita, you do the same. It's always great speaking to you, and I look forward to
Thank
seeing
you.
you. All right.
Yeah, okay. All right,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.